things I know is that women, we need our communities, our groups, right? They're very important. I think I was talking to a few of my male friends. They're like, no, here, like their ways of grouping is very different than ours. But it's also because I think maybe our needs for community, so there's the communities that we need and the groups that we need to replenish. And then there is the communities we show up for. And I'm curious to hear about, like, so we'll talk about the practical tools on how to build a community and being intentional about it. But right now, what are you getting from your groups? How are your groups and your peers, that peer-to-peer, I think Quinta was talking about peer-to-peer interaction, but what groups are you part of that are giving back, and how are you intentionally building? So this is for everybody. How are we intentionally building communities? And how we intentionally walking away from communities that might not actually serve our value systems and our purposes anymore? And how do you, make that transition so that you also don't leave people feeling hurt that you've left them? So the question is, what role is the communities playing? Like, what groups are feeding into your soul? Because that's a very critical. And then yeah, how do you know when to exit, and how do you do that in a graceful way?
Like on my end, I can say, first of all, one of the major communities, or one of the most critical communities I have, is my family, my siblings, because we are all we have to each other. Like, we need to be together for each other, everyone else is coming in, but we are in already.
Yeah.
So we try as much as possible to keep ourselves together and to be a safe space for each other, because sometimes even family can be the most unsafe places. But we try to like bring in as much positivity for each other, to be there to listen and to guide each other, and to walk this earth together. I think I also have another very close community of girls, and what we do, we've created a safe space where we are able to speak out, we are able to be there for each other, not necessarily sorting each other's problems like all the time, because there's so much you can do, but then guiding each other, like checking up on each other, knowing where everyone is at, and being a place of love where it is judgment free, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your situation, your careers, your everything. You're in a judgment free zone, and that for me is one of the safest places I can ever be. And so it is a place where you feel you, even when someone calls out, I need you, you immediately will drop whatever you have, whatever, like that's the amount of safe space it is, or holding space for that particular group, because you can drop whatever you're having to go help, because they would do the same to you. So you're not just pouring, you're also receiving. You're receiving love, you're receiving critique, you're receiving level-headedness, you're receiving all that. And so for me, that is one very, very critical relationship that I would maintain with this group of friends. And we have come a long way together. We've been there and it's an intentional choice to be there for each other. Like, we are here for each other. That is the main purpose. We're just here for each other. We are holding space for each other. Yeah. And to take away the outside noise, and just to, like, we can regroup together. Yeah.
And be each other's mirror. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
By the way, when you talk about siblings, just a moment of like honest truth. so my siblings and I think I'm closer to some siblings and I'm not close to others. Like that's just the reality of how my life has turned. And so I think it's the three of you that and I know that I wish Quinta was here because she could be on my side here. But there's like I'm so like, oh my gosh, these siblings are so close. And then I look at and because I moved so much, and we didn't have the grounding of being raised together and so forth. I'm always jealous, by the way, and this is honest truth, like I'm jealous of siblings that are very close to each other. They have dinners and all these things and all that. I'm like, oh my God, I wish. So now I've had to make siblings out of all of you. So, but I'm always genuinely, it is a moment of, like, for me, it's one of those pains I think maybe I carry a lot, is that I have my siblings and I are not as close as I would like. Maybe I'm close to one or two of them, but I am always jealous of you guys because you are like very close to your siblings. Anyways, Nyawera.
Yeah, when it comes to siblings, my siblings are my friends. Like, it does get to that place where who is the person you call to drink, who's the person you call to vent, who's the person, and I'm blessed. Let me say I'm blessed, and that I have a sibling circle that works, and that we're pretty close, and we only keep the secrets that we have to keep from each other. Yeah. But in the event that something happened to me today and I didn't exist anymore, I don't think there's anyone who'd come and trick my siblings and say, oh, hi, I am the love of her life. They'd be like, no, you're not. Or, she owed me money like this. And they'd be like, no. Yeah, like,
we knew all her debts.
We know them. In fact, there are people we need to avoid, So yeah, I think family for me is core. And it's not always what it looks like also. It doesn't mean that we don't get along. I mean, we fight, and we fight about very silly things sometimes. And I think being the older one, I have to always have decorum. Yeah. So that we can maintain my mother's peace.
You are the one who holds it, like the decorum?
Yeah. And you know it because you've met my siblings. Are you telling me I'm the one who's not? Like, of course I am.
No
anyway.
No
and I think because of how we all feel about my mom, we all then have to put our differences aside. But then we also are the same. So when I'm fighting with my brother or my sister, we're fighting from a point of you're hard-headed. No, you're hard-headed, but we're hard-headed because we've been told we're hard-headed before. So we come to that point. But that's just my family. And then I think I also came to a place in my life where I had to find a balance. I had to find a balance because being a teacher, I carried along with me the responsibility of being good, being almost perfect, being knowledgeable, being upright, being all those things. So for a long time, my friends were kids. I didn't have adult relationships, and I spoke like them. I was tired like them. I was interested in things that they're interested in, and and then I had to desire to want more for myself. And so what I did is I asked myself questions. And once I asked myself, who am I? Who am I besides a teacher? Because I think that's where my awakening came, where even the people who knew me would refer to me as teacher. And I'm like, I've never taught you. Why are you referring to me as a teacher? I'm not my career. Like, why are you putting that on me? And that awakening then came with me asking myself, who am I? And then what is it I have to offer as an individual? Besides my teaching, that's a skill that I've learned somewhere. What do I have to give as a person? What is my life experience? What are the things I've gone through that I could speak to people? This is now how I ended up getting into mentoring and coaching. And then I had to ask myself, what do I need? So the first question is, what do I have to give? And then what do I need as an individual, right? When I'm growing in this life, who am I growing with? whose children are gonna whose children am I gonna godmother or aunt, if I'm not hanging out with people my age. And then asking myself, what do I desire? When I look around me, who do I want to be like? Or what is it that I'm looking at and saying, that's how I want to be when I'm 50 or when I'm 60, So asking myself those questions allowed me then to plug into different communities so that I could get what I want, And in these communities, yes, it's far and wide, but because of the intention, I've managed to cherry pick some people and keep them close to me because they're keeping me grounded. Yeah. So I've got some young people who I've told, call me anytime. Let's talk about things. Why? Because I have some life experience. And then I've got other people, we meet on a Monday evening and we have conversations, tough conversations. But because it's what we're going through, it's necessary for us to check ourselves and say, "Ooh, I'm not dying. I don't need to die because I've got someone to share my problems with." And then you make older friends as well who, they tell you, you think you're going to figure out when you're 30. Nah, you think you're going to figure out when you're 40. You don't figure this stuff out. Just live your best life, So that has helped me ground myself.
Don't tell the younger people that one, they're hoping that I thought at 40 I'll have figured out my life. First of all, I would be married. I would either, I had a choice. I would have rich auntie rich auntie behavior. I see Kate laughing. It's because Kate and I, we're now cousins, like practically cousins, because we've known each other that long. But
Divine, you're my rich auntie. You're my rich auntie right now. So please calm down. Calm down.
By now, it's not linearness is not there. Because gosh, I feel like I have such moments of trying. Like I went to a wedding this weekend, and no joke, it is people like this person. I looked at my friend, and he's a friend of mine, and I was just like, oh my God, this person has kept friends since high school, since actually not high school, childhood, like wow. 1 year old. And I'm just like, wow, how? And with all this life and what's going on, today you're here in this country. I'm Vanessa, like you're just like, how do you have the energy to keep all these people close? And then you are, half of the time you just are tired because you want to sleep. So I'm curious about this thing, because I now tell the younger people, I'm like, guys, first of all, do not rush to grow up. Don't rush. This process of growing up, don't rush. Also, you don't have to figure things out all like now, right? Like don't even feel like, but the thing that I wish, there are two things, and I think this is next week, next month's conversation is going to be about finances. There's two things I wish I had been told very, very clearly. One, save, and then like have like a roadmap of saving. And two, community, like building very, like not because you're not building them, but being very intentional about how you are showing up in the community and how you're holding space in the community. And gosh, I like sometimes I feel, and this is the next session, because I want us to now go into practical tools. I know, Vanessa, you haven't answered it, but as you're thinking about your answer, but I want us to also start thinking about what are the practical tools really for people who I think like me have gone through a season of feeling alone, even though you have a lot of communities, and you've kind of just like felt alone for one reason or the other. Don't know how to ask for help because you're the strong woman and the firstborn, or really sometimes the communities are so scattered you don't know how to hold them together. So what do you do? So how do we have practical steps for people who are maybe not they're where I was maybe 2 years ago, where I felt like my identity was work. I left with such a strong identity for work, and then the communities I'd built around me were mostly actually work. And then I had these other communities that were scattered. And so you went through a moment, at least for me, I went through a moment of really deep loneliness, longing for community and longing for connection. And thankfully I found it and had to reconnect with everybody around me. But how do you intentionally build those communities, and which communities for you mean the world and have been life-giving for you? But Vanessa, tell.
Okay, so for me, the loneliness part, I really, really relate. For the last like 5 years, yeah, let me say 3 years, I've really changed. Like my life transformed in a major way, and those who are very, very close to me know what happened. And a lot of people who see me say you are a completely different person, because for me, I was in a point in my life where I thought things were going to end. Like, honestly, like I reached a point where I think many people reach that point in life, or some people, if some people don't take care, you can reach a very dark road. But me, what helped me at that moment, because it was in the middle of when I lost my sister, and when my sister died, I was not in the country, I was in Senegal, and there was just so much going on in my life. So I honestly decided the first thing I'm going to do is I need to deal with things and work on myself. Now, me, I was very lucky because I had family who helped me at that moment. I was in a space where I didn't have a job. I didn't like, I didn't have an income, but I got to be in a space where I could focus. Like, Yani, when you're in a place where your focus can be just, let me heal, let me just heal. I was lucky to be in a space like that. So I focused on healing, I focused on growth, the things I want to work on, the things I want to change, the things, I focused on those things. And so what happened is I've been like, because I now started working on myself, knowing how to better myself as a person, because my goal is to be the best version of myself and to make sure that I leave an impact in people. I know so many people say that, but for me, I said, I need to make sure that whatever I've learned in life, I pass it on and I impact people's lives, because like the pain I've been through in life, I'm like, I don't want, like, for me it's automatic. I don't want other people to feel that way or to feel alone, because I was there and I know where it can go. So I try my best to be there and help people. So it reached up, like, now when it's healing, sometimes it reached a point where, because my mindset changed, I was alone because I couldn't really identify with people who had the same mindset. So for some time, I was kind of alone. But it wasn't an alone time of like, I feel bad. No, it was an alone time of me also adapting. And then some people were used to the old version of you. So some people still were like, but with time nowadays, they're like, this is a new Vanessa. So what I did is I identified people who are in this mental space that I'm in, like practically people who I want to be. So let me give an example, because me, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian, and I'm proud of it. So what I did was prayer life. I want to be prayerful. So I identify someone, a lady who has been prayerful. So I identify her, like, how do you help? Like, what do you do to become a prayerful person? Okay, I'm a country director. Okay, I go and say, okay, my career changed. How are you a country director? What are the things you go through mentally, emotionally, and as a woman? And because we all know people like to say women oversay those things, but until you're there and a woman, you realize actually women, we need to always fight. So it takes a lot from you. So I identify a woman who has been in that space, because that's where I am emotionally and mentally, and I learn from her. So it's for me intentionally looking for people. And then you journal a lot, because when you journal, sometimes you don't know what you're feeling or you don't know what you're going through. So sometimes just write, try to find the closest word to describe the place you're in, the emotions that you're in, and then look around, because I know there's one thing also is that people in your circle who can help you, but you're afraid of approaching them, or they have people they know who can help you. For me, for example, when it comes to family, me, my sister, my younger, I talk to my sister every day. Like, I don't know if there's something my sister doesn't know about me. We talk every day. Like, we even talk about things like, do you know what irritates me? I realize what irritates me is I don't like when people leave plates in the sink. Like such details. We talk about everything. So, that also, like, my sister, I'm lucky, she's younger than me, but everyone says one thing: she's very mature. She
Yeah.
thinks and reasons, like, so she's also my person who I go to, did I do well, like, am I right for feeling that way? And she tells me the truth. And so I categorize people. Yes, this is important. You need to be able to also, I think what's important, and I think we mentioned this before, know how to categorize people, who plays what role, and make sure you have people who feed you and who you feed. So if someone, a mentor, the other day I realized I don't have a mentor. And I realized that because I'm in this situation that I'm in and I'm lost and I feel stuck. And I realized I don't have someone I can talk to about what I'm going through. And I realized, let me talk to this person. So I reached out to that person. And yeah, it's just being intentional about it. If you want to become a better person, imagine, like, look for it. You will look for it and you will get it. And I think that's the answer. When
Yeah.
your loneliness will come, oh my goodness, loneliness will come, because nobody exactly knows exactly what you feel and what you're going through. No one knows. And unless you share it with someone. So the loneliness is there. But the one thing that I encourage people, and even me, I discipline myself to, I don't like staying too long in loneliness. If I say I'm too much into this dull moment, I feel lonely, I feel like, I get myself up and I do something about it. If I need to meet my friends and go for a walk, we do that. If I need to, I don't know, like, do something, I do that. I'm intentional about things, but I deal with that issue that's bothering me. Yes, I think that is very important. And one thing about us is, I also got to realize, me, I learned not to have shame. I learned not to have shame. And what I mean by that is,
Yeah.
I don't get embarrassed about the things I go through. No one is perfect in this world. We are all here, like you said, people are still figuring things out in their 60s. We're all here figuring life. No one is perfect. So if I feel like there's a mistake I'm doing, or I don't know, I find the right person, of course, but I don't have like, I stopped having shame or being embarrassed or ashamed of myself that, Vanessa, you're feeling lonely because you're single and you don't have someone to talk to. And
Yeah.
yeah, I stopped. Like, I'm not the only single person in this world. So I called someone and I tell people, I'm like, hey, Manze, I'm feeling lonely. I feel like I want, it happens. I want someone. And then when I talk about it, I feel like, people encourage you. They're always like, because I know why I'm single. So, people encourage you and things. So I'm never ashamed of things in my with me. I don't let it shame me and put me in a bubble and close me, and no. So those are the things I've worked out in my life, like, to try and just make me be a better person. And then the last rule, and this rule came recently. You know how people say word of affirmation? I told myself that mine is, I'm going to be happy. So you see, the way Nyawera joined the meeting with Psych, I said that is going to be me.
Monday
Every
psych.
Yes, my motto is, Vanessa, you're going to be happy. You're a happy girl. I always remind myself, Vanessa, you're a happy girl. So that no matter what is happening, I'm a happy girl and I'll find a solution to whatever is going on. And it does, and yes, so it's also me working on myself. Look in the mirror, I'm a happy girl, I'm a bubbly girl. Anyway, people always say that about me, but I intentionally smile a lot. If you people look at my videos, I'm always smiling. It's intentional because I always want to make a world a better place and also be bubbly with myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, I've seen you. You've
Mhm.
since I've met you, you've always been one person. Kate, tell me.
Yeah, like there's something she said about loneliness, and I can't help, like I'm sitting, it's itching me to speak about it. She talked about loneliness, and for example, if you're in singlehood, but do you know people actually get so lonely sometimes, and they are constantly surrounded by people.
Mm,
Like
no,
personally,
that's-
I've gone through such a phase. I am married. I have uh, people around me, people I come to work and see every day. But sometimes, there are scenarios where even your own partner, you feel like your own partner also won't comprehend what you're talking about. Or you can even air it sometimes and you feel like, I don't think they're quite catching what I'm saying. Maybe it's true or not, but you
even
put
as if they
yourself in that
didn't.
situation. Yeah, you put yourself in that situation where you're also not starting to reason with yourself that I don't think they're actually understanding what I'm talking about. So you start even putting yourself in that loneliness cocoon, like you're alone now because you don't want to share, or you feel if you share, it's not being it's not being heard, or it's not being activated how you want it to be
Yeah.
activated. And yeah, like it happens to people who are surrounded with their families, their
Mm.
siblings, workmates. And it's funny, it's a phenomenon sometimes I don't quite understand. But again, you have to realize, to come to that realization that you're actually lonely. Then now you open up with, like, you go for it. Now honestly, I'm taking myself out of this loneliness, and I need people, and you invite people now to
To-
come and, yes, to come and try and understand you, or to give comfort. It could only be comfort you're looking for and you don't know
yeah.
it. Yeah, it could only be a critic that you're looking for someone to just tell you, nah, stop it now, this is stupid. Like, it could just be sometimes something very tiny to take you out of that loneliness zone.
No, but I
Yeah.
think sometimes it's also like someone to affirm. And I think Nyawera,
Yeah, or that too.
yeah, I'll put you on a spot because I've had a situation where I had a very interesting. So I've had, as part of the loneliness is actually departing from friends and all that. And Nyawera, I think was such an affirming. You became an affirming, holding space at that point. I don't even know if there's a word for it, but you held space for me in that moment in a way that I felt, in a way, validated, because that's what I was looking for. So in the loneliness of I am losing friends because my life has changed, my circles have changed, and at that moment where I was struggling with should I not, you became like you really affirmed and validated me. And so I'm completely, like, sometimes that loneliness is not about having people around you, is actually having just a sounding board, somebody who understands, like being understood, being heard, and then being understood, right? Like that, those things are very interesting because those are the things that when you're in that moment of feeling lonely, it's either going to be, and you have to identify what is the cause of that loneliness. Is it that I need someone to hear me, or do I want to be seen? Right. Those always you need like different communities. There are communities who are coming in and they're going to hear you. They're going to hear your heart. They know you enough to know that they're going to give you a very good sounding board. They're going to be a mirror in that sense. And then there are times that your loneliness demands that you are within a community of people and you want to be seen. You want to be part of something, right? So I like when Vanessa says that, like, I'm very clear about impact. I want to be an impact for you. It's the same thing about me. So sometimes I feel like I just want to be part of something that is greater than myself. And then that loneliness is coming from, I don't feel like I'm having as much impact as I would like to. So therefore I go and find something that re-energizes me again, right? So yeah, yams.
Well, so let me tell you something, guys. Yeah. Anyway,
if we were Powerpuff Girls, Nyawera is definitely Bubbles.
She'll definitely be.
So I think one of the things I've come to appreciate about all the communities I'm in is expectations. And they have a ripple effect on everything else in your life. And then because being a woman is a sport, if the expectation is met at the wrong time of the month, or not expected, like you don't, it's not met at, whether it's how you want to look at it as a woman, the right time of the month or the wrong time of the month, right? And I feel that also influences what it is we're going through. That sometimes I think that, Divine, you're my friend. You should know to call me at midday. But then if I haven't told you that I'm not okay, why should I expect that from you? So the expectations we set for ourselves, how we give ourselves, and how we expect people to give themselves to us. That I think is where sometimes you gotta play for yourself. You've got to be selfish enough to call yourself out and say, hey, what do I want? What do I need? Because it's at that point that you're able to even know how to give yourself. So for someone who's in many communities, sometimes I struggle with how much is enough, how much is too little. You don't want to have favorites, but at the same time, it's the time of the month, guys. I'm lazier than usual, and I just don't feel like coming for that tea. And in another time of the month, I have so much energy that I want tea and vodka and more tea and vodka, but it's just being a woman. And depending on which week you arrive with the expectations
of vodka.
Yeah, it just, but in terms of tools, I think I've really worked hard to center myself for me. And what do? I look at a plate of chips and I say, depending on how I look at them, I know if I'm struggling or I'm okay, because chips is my happy food and it's also my sad food. And if I reject chips, then I know there's something absolutely wrong with me, because I'm not deciding if I'm happy or sad.
Chips, you're talking about potato chips.
Yeah.
Chips ama chipo.
Mine is
like the ones
mine is chocolate. Mine is chocolate.
Vanessa gets it.
Wait, I'm trying to get this. Like chips, like potato chips or
not crisps. Not crisps, fries.
Oh yeah, okay, fries. I knew that. I was about to say, wow.
So if I look at them, if I'm in a mood and I look at the fries and I can't decide if I want to eat them or not eat them, then I know something's off. Because if I'm happy, I will eat them. If I'm sad, I will eat them. And how I eat them kind of determines the happiness. Yeah, But if I look at them and I'm indecisive, then I know it's off. I listen to a song and I'm not grooving my head the way I should. I'm like, what's going on? If I look at my phone and I go straight to Candy Crush instead of doing the correct thing, which is perhaps reply a message, return a call, I've had to deliberately find my triggers or find signs that are telling me that I'm not okay. Because there's also something I call laziness. I go through lazy phases, guys, where I just want to chill. Like, don't disturb me. Don't ask me even to chew food. Can someone chew it on my behalf? There's also that phase. And it's not, I just want to chill, and then there's phases where I want to go and be with people, but don't talk to me. Don't even look at me.
Yeah.
I just want to be here. Yeah, don't talk to me. Don't even look at me, but I don't want to be in the house, And then there's times I'm like, what are we doing? And let's go home. Like tomorrow doesn't exist. Right? But again, I've said being a woman is a sport, right? And for me, I've embraced that. And I've chosen to just go with that flow, because when I don't go with that flow, I'm left with some guilt. I'm left with thoughts of what will someone think, but I just accepted to choose me. My expectation is on me. What does Nya want? So choosing me has helped me a long way in terms of dealing with holding space, dealing with opinions, dealing with expectations, And then I think the other thing that really helped me is picking something for me. Like when I get on my bike, it's for me. We can't do it together. Even if you want it, you can only ride alongside me, but the ride is in my heart, in my brain, in my everything.
Yeah.
It's not like a drive, someone will enter your car and say, let's go. Or like, for me, I find I take my biking so personally.
You don't carry people?
Never.
You don't carry people?
No. I don't do such things. Yeah, Kate, I can see your face. I don't care.
Let me tell you, you need to leave Nyawera with, let me tell you, Nyawera and her bike, you just leave it alone. This thing of being carried, just mind your, let me tell you, I think
learn how to ride.
Kate has been hoping that one day she'll be behind there holding your stomach as you
are welcome to sit on my bike. I can show you how to put it on, but I will not do something called pillion you. It's not gonna happen. Nah.
You're also tiny. Like, I don't think you can carry
well.
It is okay. So quick fire rounds, right?
That bike is like 4 people combined.
It's so heavy, that thing. I've held it. Like, there was one day that I was like, okay, I know that bike is so heavy. I've left it to her. She has a way of doing it. She has you don't have muscles. Imagine, like, don't try. You're saying, yeah, no. No muscles. That muscle is not there. You're trying. I mean, you need to lift weights, by the way. try to lift weights. So
I'm trying to look for them.
I'm trying. You see, everybody's
I've gotten a muscle pull from trying that. Like, guys, see my hand. Why did I try that?